Isn't it beautiful when things just come together?
Time's gone inside out.
Build a beautiful website with Squarespace.
Time gets to start again.
Blog Talk Radio.
We are the UR Tennis Network. Our mission is to be the voice of tennis. We enlist a team of passionate enthusiasts to promote our sport. We strive to bring interesting perspectives on the many spins of tennis. Our goal is to provide the learners of our sport with current news and information from many angles. We seek active participation from communities interested in tennis, but tennis is not interested in them. We are expanding our outreach. Tennis is a true lifetime sport that needs to be talked about, and the UR Tennis Network pledges to pursue this idea relentlessly.
Welcome to the Parenting Aces radio show on Blog Talk Radio's UR Tennis Network. I'm your host, Lisa Stone, and today's guest is Georgia Tech sophomore, Chris Eubanks. Chris is going to be joining us today to talk about his unique development and his college experience so far, and also his experience earning his very first ATP ranking points this summer. So I've got Chris on the line. I'm going to bring him on now. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks
Can you
so
hear me?
much for, I can, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm so
No
sorry
problem
about
at
the
all.
technical difficulties we had on Tuesday, but I'm glad this all worked out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I just want to let my listeners know I had the pleasure of interviewing you for tennisrecruiting.net last year, and
Yes.
so I got to learn a lot about you as a person and your work ethic and your dedication to the sport. But I think, it's nice to check back in with you. You've got a year of college tennis under your belt. You, as I just mentioned, recently earned your first ATP ranking points, which I have to admit, I always knew having an ATP ranking was a really big deal, but what I didn't realize is that once a player has those ranking points under his or her belt, that you can show up at any ATP qualifying event and sign in and hopefully get to play qualifying from here on in, regardless of where you are in the rankings.
Yeah, that was huge, especially signing up for tournaments, especially in the summertime when futures come around. You really don't know if you'll be able to get in when you're just signing in the qualies. I mean, honestly, futures, their quality draws are really full, but still, it's nice just to have the security blanket of just knowing that at least I can go and get in futures. There's still some challenges that are that go on throughout the year that are a little bit weaker. A lot of guys don't show up because they may be doing tournaments elsewhere, so those also help come in throughout the year, but with me being in college now, it's kind of tough for me to try to make good use of those opportunities. But, yeah, definitely in the summer, these points are for sure going to come in handy. I can't wait to use them.
It's so cool. So can you talk a little bit about your experience in your first year at Georgia Tech, what you learned, what was exactly as you expected, and what maybe was really different from what you expected going in?
I knew going in, everyone said that, time is going to be so limited. You got to – it's so much about organizing and making sure that you make good use of the time that you have. Granted, there's still time that you can be social, but there's sacrifices you're going to have to make. I mean, there's just some times that you can't do what a regular college student can do, which for me was never really a problem. I mean, tennis has been just my main focus of my entire life for so long that me making a sacrifice of I don't know, going to hang out with some friends on a Friday, Saturday night instead of getting some rest because I know I could have to play Saturday morning because we could have a doubleheader the next day. That wasn't even a question. It wasn't that tough for me. When it comes to the academics part, growing up in Atlanta, I really didn't know much about Georgia Tech, honestly. I knew it was just the school downtown in Atlanta. And now I'm getting in here and people are saying, like, wow, you're going to Georgia Tech. That must mean you're smart. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Let's back that up a little bit. And I'm just trying to make good use of the time that I have and just keeping up on my academics. Most of my time is devoted to academics. Just trying to make sure I stay afloat So that's really the big thing that I'm really focusing on. But yeah, I'm really enjoying all aspects of college right now, and I can't wait to continue this season.
That's great. What do you have a major yet?
Yes, industrial engineering.
So you really are smart. I mean, if you're in the engineering program at Tech, that requires some very strong brain cells and a very strong work ethic, which most tennis players have that strong work ethic. Not everybody has the ability to go into engineering at the collegiate level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm industrial engineering for now. I mean, it's not set in stone yet, but right now I'm enjoying the courses that I'm taking, enjoying learning a lot. I really enjoy challenging myself, so that's the main thing. But there are some times in which I wish that engineering, I didn't have that IE major attached to my name, because I'm devoting a lot more time to work than maybe some other people are. But hey, it'll pay off in the long run, and everything always usually works out. So I'm just toughing it out and using the resources that are available to me, and just kind of making it get by as well as I can.
Well, talk a little bit about those resources, because I think that's always a question. As student athletes start their college career, how much support am I going to get? What if I'm struggling in a class, and what if I have to miss class for dual matches or tournaments? How are we going to work that out? You've got some great resources available to you. Can you talk a little bit about what those are and how you use them?
Yeah, definitely. Georgia Tech, they do a very, very, very good job at providing student athletes and all students really with just necessary tools that they need to be able to succeed academically. So no matter if you're an athlete, no matter if you're a starting athlete, no matter if you're the third string backup, everyone has access to the very same tools, and they can just make the best of it. So we have what's called Tech Center, which is where we can go and get tutoring. We can go and use computers, free printing, things like that. And then in whatever class that we may need tutoring in, we are provided with that, which can be huge, especially in courses when you're missing a lot of class. The tutors are there for you to help you get through, help you find the things that you've missed, help you get a bit better understanding of the topics that you're covering in class, which it's a necessity, honestly, I think. In my experiences, so many classes that I've taken, I've needed the tutors just to kind of be there, just to help me along, even if it's in one tutor session, just to tell you, things are going to be okay, like you're doing fine, you're managing yourself very well. Just to hear that from someone who took the class, who did well in the class, it's huge. And I'm really thankful for that opportunity that they provide, and they provide to all the student athletes and as well as the students.
Yeah, that's great. You have a unique background in your development. You have a very close relationship with professional player Donald Young, and I know Donald's mom thinks very highly of you. She and I have talked about that. And you've had the opportunity to travel with him. Can you share with my listeners what that has been like and what it's done for you, both as a tennis player and also just as a young man growing up?
Yeah, definitely. Having someone there who's playing at the highest level, someone you can call on, someone you can go to for help, and just, hey, man, can you look at this in my game? What do you think I should do here? Just bounce ideas off of someone who's been in your shoes, who's been the age that you were. Granted, Donald had a lot more pressure on him at my age, but at the same time, just to have someone there who you practice with every day, who sees things in your game that maybe a regular person wouldn't be able to see. Like, hey, man, you tend to go to this shot a lot. Every time that I give you a mid-court ball, I always know that you're going there when you do this. So things that you kind of he can see that I can't be able to see is absolutely huge. And as well as just having just a guy there who's just honestly there for you, and that is honestly there for you is just huge. And I'm so thankful for that, being able to practice with him. A lot of guys don't have that opportunity, so that's pretty good. That's well worth every quote sacrifice that I've ever had to make in tennis. It's just being able to practice with him and bounce ideas off of him and just become like a brother to him. It's just been out of this world experience.
What was it like playing doubles with him at the BB&T in Atlanta this summer?
A little nerve-wracking, honestly, at first. I didn't know what to. We had never even played doubles together in practice. So when we stepped foot on the court for the first round, it was the first time we'd ever played doubles together on the same
Wow.
net. So it was pretty remarkable. We talked about, hey, when this happens, I like to do this. Okay, well, and then we would tell the other one, okay, well, when this happens, I like to do this. Just, kind of throwing ideas off at each other. And when we got on the court, it just felt like we had played together for so long. I just kind of used instinct and let him do what he can do, and he let me do what I can do, which is serve and then do a lot of other things, maybe serve, hit forehands, try to get to the net, attack the net when I could. But we because we know each other so well, we practice with each other, we know what the other one likes and in what situation, what shot we're going to go to. So that made things so much easier. But it was a great experience, man. I'm so thankful for the wild card. And I'm thankful he even asked me to play, because he asked me to play, and I was like, he said, "Are you playing doubles in Atlanta?" I was like, "No, I don't think so." He said, "Oh, well, I'm going to see if we can maybe get a wild card." I was like, "Great," And then it came like that, and then, boom, here we were in the semifinals playing the Bryant brothers.
I was at that match. It was remarkable to watch, and you guys, I mean, I had no idea y'all had never played doubles before. Y'all seemed to communicate really well on the court. You seemed to move really well together and cover each other's shots. It was very impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So you've had just a very different, I think, development through the juniors than what I'm used to seeing and what my son went through. You didn't play a ton of junior tournaments in your younger years, and then kind of came out of nowhere and made a huge impact both in the section and nationally on the junior scene. Was that a conscious decision that you and your dad or you and your coaches made to kind of stay away from junior tournaments until you were really ready to dominate?
Yeah, that was definitely kind of a choice that we kind of made together when I started working with Donald's parents. They wanted to focus more on the development process and thinking more long term. There were so many times where I wanted to play a 16s tournament, but they wouldn't let me. They said, "No, we're looking for bigger and better things, so let's just try to work on right now, just continue to get better, and things will work out in the end." For a while, I was nervous. I was like, coaches aren't going to look at me. I want to be able to play at a big school, And Donald's dad just sat me down and said, "Listen, I promise you, if you just continue to do this the way you are, you will be playing at a big school. I would guarantee you that." And lo and behold, when I finally got out there and got to play some of the bigger tournaments, his word came true. And it was kind of blind faith at first, but I trusted him. I trusted Donald. I trusted his mom. I trusted the family. And then my dad also, like you said, agreed with the decision. So I was literally the only one who was like, "This isn't right. This isn't right. I should be playing." And didn't play, and things ended up working out pretty well in the end. So I was pretty happy about that.
Can you talk about your experience at the Southern closed? I think it was the summer before your senior year in high school.
Yep, summer. Is
that right?
I just finished my junior year. Yep.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and the outcome of that tournament and the results and what happened as a result of your results in that tournament?
Yeah, just kind of went into that tournament unseeded. Played some of my best tennis probably in my junior career for sure. Went on to make finals of it. Lost in the finals, which was a really tough match to lose. I was up a break in first and second set. I think I may have been up 2 breaks in one of the sets, and the match just got away from me. I think it was kind of the moment of, man, I can do this. I can win Southern. This is going to be huge, and it didn't really happen the way I wanted it to. But I mean, things still continue to. I just had to focus on continuing to get better before Kalamazoo. Winning the Kalamazoo, had a pretty good result, did really well there, and college coaches started coming, and it was pretty overwhelming experience. It was just like, man, wow, these coaches actually want me. This is amazing. And granted, I really didn't know where I was going. I just know that I was so excited that big schools were actually interested in me. And then when I came to see Georgia Tech, it just felt so much like home that I was like, this is where I have to be. So that's how that decision came about.
Am I remembering correctly? You committed verbally pretty early to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I did. I committed verbally after Southern. Actually, I went into Kalamazoo already committed, and a bunch of the coaches, they didn't know who I was. A lot around the country, there were some who knew, like some of the ones who were at Southern, and they knew how I played and who I was. But a lot of the other coaches around the country had no idea who I was, and I was already committed to Georgia Tech, and I think Kenny got a couple of head nods from other coaches and a couple saying like, "Hey, I think you stole one," because it just kind of slipped under the cracks, and I was more than happy with my decision. So if I could do it all over again, I would.
So you would recommend that route to other juniors coming up who have the goal of playing high-level college tennis, maybe bypassing junior tennis in the younger age groups, really focusing on development, and then trying to make a splash maybe junior, senior year of high school? Am I summarizing correctly what you did?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, but I think every person it's different for everyone. Now that was the route that I took, and I was thankful that it ended up working out very well. But depending on who you are, I mean, I think things can kind of change. I think a lot of things play into my factor with the fact that I was going to be a bigger guy. I needed to get used to playing big man tennis and using what I have and developing those tools. So when I did get out there, I was fine. And I felt comfortable playing the style of tennis that I should have been playing. Whereas, who's to say if I had stayed in juniors a little bit longer, like throughout the age groups, may not have totally got that because I would have been so focused on winning. So I may not have committed fully to it. But when you're not playing tournaments and you're just practicing, there's no reason to be afraid in practice. You know, you become afraid in matches. So yeah, that was just my route. I mean, I think everybody has to sit down and try to evaluate their own situation and see if that's the best way to go. And if it is, by all means, go ahead. But that route may not be for everyone, and that's okay. I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't be a good college tennis player or even professional. It's just the route that I took, and I thought it was the best route for me.
Right. How important were practice matches in your development? I actually just published an article today on trying to help people arrange practice matches. And there are a lot of coaches at the college level that talk about how important it is for kids to play matches, not tournaments necessarily, but just get out and play. Was that a big part of your development process?
Yeah, it was huge. Also just being able to practice with Donald every day was a huge factor in it too. But yeah, going out and my favorite practice are the ones when we do baseline games and service games and a set or a match. That's what I love to do. So, like, I personally enjoy the practice because it helps make you messed up. It helps make you understand in the situation what you can and what you should do depending on who you are and your game style. So, like, the practice matches, in my opinion, I absolutely love. That's my favorite kind of practice, just because your livelihood or your success is dependent on how you do in matches. So some people may go and enjoy doing more like drilling and cross courts and things like that, which is perfectly okay. I love practice matches because it helps make you match up. It helps you focus on patterns that you can do in different situations throughout a match, and they come to real. And when they come to real life, then like, oh man, I've done this before. This is no problem. So.
Besides Donald, who else did you practice with?
There were a lot of guys I practiced with. A lot of guys, Zach Kennedy, Justin Bird, Kyle Montreal. Just guys who lived in my area for the most part. And then there were also some guys that when they would come into town to practice with Donald, I would also get to practice with them. So that was pretty big too, just being able to get a guy from an outside, maybe a guy from out of town, or a good college guy who wanted to come in town and hit with Donald or stuff like that, and I got to hit some with him, so it gave me a chance to actually see, what college could be like and in a higher level. So that was pretty good because when I played people at a higher level, I tended to raise my level. So that gave me a little bit of confidence to know that, hey, I can compete with these guys even if it was just practice.
Right. And I should mention for the listeners, the guys you mentioned, those are all guys that are right around your same age.
Yep.
So and they were all playing a more traditional junior competition type schedule. Those guys were playing tournaments in the Georgia area, but also sectionally and even nationally. So you had some pretty stiff competition out there, some pretty great practice partners. Even if you weren't going to the tournaments, you were getting amazing experiences out there.
Yeah, definitely. So that was absolutely huge. And I mean, being able to practice with those guys, we all just went out there and just focused on trying to make each other better. So I think we kind of achieved our goal there. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Was skipping college ever part of the conversation for you and going straight pro?
No chance.
Because
college was going to be. College is just such an important tool in trying to develop your game, that being able to play 4 years of just pretty much development. I'm still, even though I'm in college and wins and losses are important, I feel like it's still a development phase because I'm still not where I want to be yet. So every step, every decision that I'm making is all about development and making myself better and doing things like that, which I'm pretty happy with. So there was no chance that I was going to skip college and try to go out there and kind of fend it for myself. I really wanted to go to college, and I really wanted to stay for Kenny, because Kenny's been there. Kenny's done what I'm trying to do, and having a coach who's been there and who's done it is huge. And he can kind of tell you, you can learn from his mistakes, and you can kind of have someone to help you along through it, and who knows you pretty well, because after 4 years, college coach should at least know you almost like years on kid. I mean, you spend so much time with them, and it's just a relationship grows, and then it makes you start to trust that person even more, and then trust their opinions and things like that. So it having, like, in the grand scheme of things, being able to say, hey, this is going to be 4 years of development. This is going to be 4 years of development under a guy who's done what you're trying to do, and who's a great guy. I mean, the decision was easy. Really easy.
And so after college, the idea is you're going to try your hand on the tour?
Yes. That is the plan. I'm going out there and I want to see what I can do. And all things go well, then, hey, we'll see hopefully a rise in college tennis players doing well in the professional ranks, and I want to be one of the next ones. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm enjoying my time here now and just focus on trying to get better every day.
What was your parents' role in your tennis coming up? You said, that your dad was on board with what Donald's parents were recommending for you. And I know, that Donald's parents really kind of took you under their wing, but I also know that your dad's a really strong personality and is very committed to your success. Can you share what his role was as you were coming up and how that role has changed maybe now that you're in college?
Yeah, well, my dad was the reason that I got into tennis. He started me off. He would go out with my brother, and he was teaching my brother. And when I got up to the size where I could walk and had a lot of energy, he put a racket in my hand, and that's how it started. So he has been there throughout everything, throughout as much success and the down and the ups and the downs. He's been there throughout the whole thing. Still giving advice when he can, and when he sees something, he's not afraid to point it out and doing things like that. So he's always been around, and he'll probably always be around. So, I mean, just that aspect of it. My mom was more laid back in it. She was more moral support. I think that's kind of a lot of people who are in the situation, or kids, when their dad's coaching them, I think a lot of them have the same relationship as the mom, just kind of moral support. Things are going to be okay, even on those rough days or those rough matches. Mom is just always things you can go back to. So, I mean, it was pretty normal. And in my eyes, I've seen a lot of other kids have the same type of relationship with their parents in tennis. So, I mean, it was pretty normal, I think.
And now that you're in college, what's their involvement with your tennis at this stage of the game?
They're at all the matches. They're there at all the matches, every home match, every if it's close and it's away, they're still there. You know, tennis has been just a part of my life, which makes it a part of their lives for about 17 years now. So I mean, they can't just drop it. They can't just drop it. I wouldn't be able to just drop it. So it's still a process. They're still around. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. So.
What are some of the things that your parents did really well when you were coming up, and what are some things that you wish maybe they had done a little differently?
In every aspect of a competitive when you're relationship or a competition when you're doing things with your parents, things are going to go tough. I mean, I think my dad was always there to just push me and push me and push me and push me. My mom just kind of had more of a hands-off approach when it came to that. But when I came home, everything was all fine, dandy again. But I really don't think there's anything that I would second guess or that I would change, just because it looks like it's working out pretty well right now. So if I change anything that they did or that my dad or my mom did, things may not have worked out as well. So everything that they did, I'm just thankful for, and making me go out to practice when maybe I didn't really want to. But, hey, it's all part of sport. It's all part of life. And I think they were just preparing me for what life's going to be like.
Absolutely. Did you ever go through a phase where you considered giving up tennis?
I think every kid has that same thing. It's like every kid at some point says they're going to run away from home. It's blowing smoke. It's not honest. I mean, I would say it. I would say that I don't want to play tennis anymore. And then 3 days without it, and I was almost having the shakes. So I never seriously put them down for maybe like a month and say I'm not playing tennis anymore. That was never an option. I couldn't do it even if I tried.
Well, that's good to hear. I think burnout is really common among junior players, and maybe, the fact that you took kind of an unconventional route helped save you from that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so moving forward, you've got the fall season just starting to get underway. My son hasn't even left for college yet. They don't start till September 21st. So what's a typical day for Chris Eubanks like?
At the beginning of the semester, it's a typical day. Begins wake up at around 5. Get ready, leave at about 5:30 to go to the tennis center. We have weights and conditioning at 6. We do that from about 6 to 7 or 7:15. Have 8 a.m. classes every day this semester, so immediately shower, go get breakfast, go to class from 8. Some days I may have an individual at 10. Other days I'll have an individual at 1. And then have find lunch in between. Practice with the team at either 2 or 3:30, depending on what day it is. And then after that, it's food and study time and getting homework done and doing all that type of stuff. So all the real fun stuff. So that's pretty much my day in a nutshell.
And during the dual match season, how does that change, or does it?
It changes to a certain extent. Let's see, how can I describe it as a change? During the dual match season, we tend to do weights maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and we try to focus a little bit more on in the practices, doing a lot more match play and getting match ready and doing things like that. But the class schedule is it's pretty much the same. It's class, lunch, class, maybe another class, just trying to find time or fixing in our weights and our conditioning or our tennis. And tennis is usually the same, or our practice is usually the same time every day. But, some days when we may have a paper due that night, we just kind of try to either grind through the practice or try to get an individual in to supplement the practice or fix our schedule so that we have enough time to get our work done and get our practices in. So,
when you say individual, you mean like a private session with the coach?
Yeah, like a private lesson with the coach. Yep.
Got it. And so when you're traveling for the dual matches, is there any, just from a practical standpoint as a student athlete, is there any advice you can give to other student athletes or prospective student athletes about how to handle missing classes?
Yeah,
I know you said you've got the tutors and all that, but in terms of your relationships with your professors, maybe.
Yeah, I think most important thing is definitely to have a good relationship with your professors, because professors they wouldn't make or break your grade. So if you don't have a good relationship with them and you're missing a lot of class, it really doesn't bode well. But if you have a good relationship with them, you let them know things like, hey, I'm on the 10th team, we're going to be missing days. And you go the extra mile by going through and finding the days that you may miss and seeing if that aligns with a quiz or an assignment that's due. Can you do it early? And usually that really goes over well with professors. They tend to, take a liking to you as long as you prove that you're there to show that, to go the extra mile to get their work done, then everything usually goes fine. So the most important thing is just to have a really good relationship with the professors and the staff.
You seem to have a really good handle on time management. And I know when I interviewed you for tennis recruiting, you talked about how you, at the beginning of the semester, you go through the syllabus for each class and log your test dates and your assignment due dates into your calendar and put any tournaments in and really make sure you manage that time well. Is that something you had to learn when you started college, or is that a skill that you kind of developed over the years?
Yeah,
because that's impressive to me.
Over the years, I think I kind of just knew that this was going to be a different ball game. College isn't like high school anymore. Like this is the real deal. So it's really important to go into it with the mindset of, I'm here to do business, and I have to take more of a business mindset into the classroom and on the court. So I've kind of always had that, just because my parents have kind of instilled that in me at a young age, so it really wasn't that big of a deal to do. I just thought that's just, what you were supposed to do. I really didn't know that was something that was out of the ordinary for an 18-year-old to be able to do that and take responsibility for themselves. But that's just something that they told me to do, and I just kind of had that all along. Even in high school, you can get away with a lot more stuff that you can in college, so I wasn't really too concerned. But when I got to college, I knew from the beginning, like, hey, all right, this is college. This is a new ball game. Let's get this work done. Let's make sure that I'm on top of all my assignments, and then, things work out pretty well.
That's great. Any advice you have for juniors coming up that aspire to play college tennis, just in any aspect, whether it's social advice or training advice or academic advice, because you seem to have figured it out pretty well and managed all the different areas of your life to help you get to where you are now, which is this incredible opportunity at Georgia Tech and this great relationship with Donald and now these ATP ranking points, which are going to open lots of doors for you. So what can you share with us?
Just advice to try to give?
Yeah.
Just if you love doing it, then it shouldn't feel like a job. It shouldn't feel like anything that's just out of the ordinary. If it's something that you really want to do, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to go the extra mile for it, and that long term ends up paying off very well. So just if that's something that you really want to do in whatever aspect it is, just make sure you stick to it and commit to it fully. You don't have to do it because if you have to do it, you're probably doing nothing but wasting your time and other people's time. So if it's something that you really want to do, show people that you really want to do it and do whatever it takes to try to get there, and know that even if it doesn't work out, that you gave it your all and you did all that you could do to try to make it, and then you can live with no regret.
That's great. Well, I'm going to end with that, Chris, and I want to thank you for taking time out because I know you are busy, and just trying to get this interview scheduled has been a bit challenging with your schedule. So thank you so much. Good luck to you this season. I'll be watching you guys and hopefully be out at some of the matches, and I just wish you all the success.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. To my listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I apologize again for the delay in getting this podcast up this week. Like I mentioned earlier, we had some technical issues on Tuesday, and then as you heard, Chris is a very busy young man, so trying to find time to chat with him was a little challenging, but we made it work. I hope you enjoyed hearing from him. If you have a chance to ever see Chris Eubanks play in person, I promise you won't be disappointed. He is very, very fun to watch. He is a tall guy. He's got a huge serve and huge forehand, and I had just the best time getting to watch and cheer for him during the BB&T Atlanta Open this summer. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We have another great show coming up for you next week with Joey Johnson, and so I hope you'll tune in again on Tuesday. In the meantime, have a great week and see you on the courts.